Hey everyone, and welcome to my 4 pictures, 1 word explainer video. But before we get started, here's a little humor for all you shutterbugs out there. A friend of mine is always going on about photography jokes. Just can't shut her up. While this video is about an individual application, the 4 pics, 1 word application, the idea is about taking something new, a technology, an application, something that you use on your smartphone, and transfiguring it into something that you can use in your classroom. I didn't originally plan to make something new old again. I started out with the idea of a BYOD activity, a bring your own device activity, in which students bring their smartphone or tablet to class, and we play a group activity, pair activity, or individual activity from our smartphones, from our tablets. However, my original plan didn't come to fruition. But as you can imagine, even with the best, most thought out, and well-prepared lessons, technology doesn't always cooperate. So I had to take my smartphones and make them dumb again. With that being said, I want to say that there are many applications out there that are fantastic, really worth using, if you have the time, if you have the resources, and you have the opportunity to make sure it works. If not, use those applications as seeds. And then grow those seeds into your own activity. Take the concept, take the idea, take the vocabulary. Take one piece of that application and make it your own. Transfigure it into something that's really going to work in your classroom. I like to fancy myself as a creative person. But in reality, many of my greatest ideas, the most successful lessons that I've had, have come from other people's ideas. Ideas that I took and made my own. So, be like me. If you like this idea, take it and make it your own. Here's what I did. I'm always on the lookout for new applications that I think could enrich and add excitement to my students' learning experiences. One of my favorites was 4 pics, 1 word. In this game, students are shown 4 pictures that all relate to a single topic. That topic is the word they need to guess. Here's an example. You can see a chocolate layer cake, maybe a birthday cake, a child eating a cake, candles lit on a cake, and a 4-letter answer, C-A-K-E. After playing this game for a little while, I realized that my students would love this game, but a lot of them couldn't get access to it. So I decided that I would download the game on my iPad and take screenshots of each puzzle. Then I printed them out, laminated them, and cut them up. I printed out 4 puzzles on one A4 piece of paper. The next step was numbering them. I just simply turned them over and wrote them in a permanent marker. As you can see, they're numbered from 1 to 30. Since I knew this was a really great activity, and I wanted to reuse it in many of my other classes, I decided not to have students write the answer on their puzzle paper. Instead, I made an answer paper like this. It's a very simple box template that I made in Microsoft Publisher. On the bottom, you can see 3 simple instructions. Look at the pictures, guess the word, write the number and the answer. As I said, I wanted to use this activity with all of my students. Some of them would be able to solve these puzzles without any assistance from me. However, there are a lot of students who might need my help. But I can't help everybody with every answer. So I decided to make an icon-based word bank with the answers to the 30 puzzles that I printed. This activity, and really any one that you make from an application, isn't about completing Mission Impossible. It's about meeting students where they are and giving them the assistance they need to feel that sense of accomplishment. So it could be a word bank, it could be the first letter of each answer filled in, it could be a number of hints from the teacher, whatever you think fits your students best. I always like to start off any game with an example. As you can see here, I'm an excellent artist, and I have drawn 4 spectacular pictures. Number 1 is blue, number 2 is the English alphabet, number 3 is a tall stick figure, and number 4 is a handsome guy that all the ladies love. It's a 5-letter word. It's a name. It's my name. Students will love you starting out with an example of your own. As I said, I'm not the greatest artist in the world. So if you're like me, and you're a Picasso, but not on purpose, here are a few easy examples to get started. To make your own is pretty simple. A template can be made using Microsoft Word, Publisher, or even PowerPoint. Here's what one of mine looks like. It's a D-O-G, dog. I-C-E-C-R-E-A-M, ice cream. C-A-T, cat. And finally, I like to work my way up to the most difficult one. S-C-O-O-T-E-R, scooter. Okay, now that you know what to do with the game, how does the activity work in a whole class environment? The instructions for this activity are pretty intuitive, and students could probably figure out what to do without much explanation. However, I like to give a visual instruction plan. And as you can see here, there are 6 steps to follow. Number 1, they get a card. They look at the pictures, look at the blanks, and look at the letters. Next are steps 2 and 3. They've got to think of the answer and then write it down on their paper. Pretty simple, right? Step 4 is the most difficult instruction to manage because students have to walk to the front of the classroom and switch their cards out for a new one. This is where your procedures really matter. You have to make sure that you drill it into your students' minds that they have to walk, not run, not push, not kick, elbow, knee, punch, trip, anybody else. That is super important to the structure of this activity. And lastly, steps 5 and 6. They continue repeating this process until they filled in all 30 boxes. I chose 30 boxes because it's a nice round number, and it fills up a 40-minute classroom period almost perfectly. I get about 75 to 80% completion, with the rest of the students almost getting there. Those were the instructions for the students. How about the teacher? What are you doing during this time? Taking a break at the front of the classroom? Huh, you wish. During this time, I allow students to use 1, 2, 3 hints per picture. I will give them the first letter of the word, the last letter of the word, and then a clue or a tip. For example, if it were a dog, I might make a barking sound, or if it were a cat, I might meow. One of the best features of this activity is its flexibility. It works equally well as an individual, pair, or small group activity. As you can see here, students were really excited to get started. They worked together well and helped each other out. All in all, it was an A+ activity, and I highly recommend you try. And how about you? What app will you use as your seed? Let me know if you think there's any good apps that you'd like to see me develop.